Deco-chan, such a sweet baby. Uh-oh, we're live, Mr. Deco-chan. We're live right now. Oh my goodness, Mr. Deco-chan, we're live. And it's just me petting the cat for 24 hours. All right, hold on. Give me a second, buddy boy. Gotta give you just a break on the pets. Hey, Maki, can you turn off your computer so I don't have that playing in the background the whole time? You just have like the game like wide open and playing and like turn it off. If you're not playing it, turn it off. And also clean up your lunch. Alrighty. Let's go find my stream and get chat put up live. Come on. Oh, there we go. And view your channel and go to the live stream and alrighty. Pause and pop out the chat. Pop out chat. Hello, Adam. Welcome back. All right, let's fix the chat so it's the right size. Ugh. And we'll make it a little bit smaller too. Actually, no, we just gotta put that out like that. There we go. What's up? Hey, what's up, Infang? Not much, just excited because spring break has started. Today I did something a little bit crazy. Um, I wrote my congressman because I don't know if you guys know this, but to get your professional teaching certificate, you have to pass what's called a subject area test. And well, actually, no, I shouldn't say everybody has to do that. Um, Here in Florida, we have what's called the subject area test, or the FCTE. There's some stuff like generalized testing, which makes sense because it just like makes sure you're, you know, um, capable of like basic elementary school level stuff. But then there is a test for subject area, and mine for art is kind of ridiculous. It asks questions about art that will never come up in a K through 12 art class. For example, can you name this type of Arabic architecture? Now, there's nothing wrong with Arabic architecture. It's beautiful. I did not take Arabic architecture history in college. I took medieval, Middle Ages, and Gothic cathedral art history. All right, those are the three I took. To be able to have a knowledge of the history of every single aspect of art, unless your major is art history, is like impossible. Okay, you can be an artist and actually have skill, or you could be an art history major and still have skill, but also be diverse memorization. Now, if I was teaching an art history class, I'd understand why I'd need to know all this different stuff from all these different periods and all these different architectures and stuff like that. Mind you, you're never teaching architecture to anyone K through 12. Oh, no, I'm sorry, K through 8. That's what I teach. The certificate says K through 12, but I'm in a K through 8 area. Maki, please take care of this. Both things, please. Um, but I don't see how things like that, or some of these really weird subjective questions that like make no sense, verify whether or not I can get my professional teaching certificate. For example, here's another one that it asks. It says, what is the safest place to put a kiln in a kindergarten clay class, like teaching clay in kindergarten? First of all, I don't know what school in this area of Florida has a budget to do clay for kindergarten. Second of all, I would do air dried clay if I absolutely had to do a clay class for kindergarten level. Third, I would not do kiln fired dried clay or have a kiln in a class that also contained kindergartners. Why you would have a machine that dangerous with babies makes no sense. The answer to that question is just no. You just wouldn't have that in the same classroom. That doesn't make any sense unless you're like wishing for a bunch of trouble. I mean, I keep things like my scissors away from them, my X-Acto knives, my paper cutter. All right. I keep them very far behind my desk, and then I have like a thing they cannot cross to get behind my desk because I feel like even those things are too dangerous. They're just kind of sharp, right? Something that can like burn, fire, dry, you know, it can actually like send clay to a level where it bursts. I don't know why you would keep a machine like that in your classroom or be teaching fire dried clay for kindergarten. Maybe when kids get to high school level, we could get to that. Maybe if your school's like ultra rich, maybe you would have it for your middle schoolers. But I don't foresee that happening. I mean, just if people understood the prices of even those supplies and understood even a school like ours, which is like A2, not a super massive school, we have about 850 students. Um, you know, what, how you would think you would have the budget to buy that kind of stuff. How would I even have the budget to buy a kiln to begin with? Like my budget is $1,000 for a full year. $1,000. That just about covers replacing all the crayons, all the markers, all the colored pencils, and like the scissors that get broken, and how you have to buy like a pencil sharpener multiple times throughout the year. Because let me tell you, as far as I know, there's nothing that sharpens the inside of a pencil sharpener. And when you've got like 1,000 pencils going through it a day, it does get dull very fast. And I don't know how they would ever think within $1,000. I mean, you can look at the prices of kiln, right? That would like maybe, if I was lucky, take the whole budget and give me a chance to do clay. Of course, I wouldn't be able to actually afford any clay because I'd have already spent the whole entire budget on a kiln. And then for kindergartners, and then putting them in a dangerous situation with a machine like that. There's just so many questions like that that are just asked by someone who obviously has never taught art in their entire life. K through 8. All right. It's asking things like, what is the sublime aspect of this piece? Well, first of all, calling a piece sublime would be a completely subjective critique of a piece of art. And let me tell you, we do get into critiques when we get into higher level middle school art, especially advanced illustration and painting, but we don't get into it on that level. We're talking about basic stuff like form, shape, abstract, 3D, 2D, shading, cross hatching, stippling, the beginning of some of the techniques the masters use. That's what I'm interested in those kids learning. That's the layering I like to put into, we can get into the abstract conceptual based stuff when we get into high school and college level art. Okay. I don't need that in my K through 8. All right. It's just crazy. I don't know. So I wrote a letter to my congressman today saying I think someone should look this test over and seriously consider scrapping it from gaining a teaching certificate in art. I have a bachelor's of fine arts, a BFA. All right, that's my degree, earned at FSU, 4-year degree. All right, I teach art. I'm good at art. If someone wants to have me come into the testing, Um, it's weird how testing works. You don't actually test with the Department of Education or the district. It's a company that's a third party that creates these tests. So they're not even actually attached to the education system. They're detached. They make up their own tests, and then that's supposed to qualify you for your professional certificate. Um, and if this company wants to have me come in and be tested live at how good my aptitude is for actually drawing, painting, sketching, illustrating, inking, anything, calligraphy, I'm there. I can do it. All right. Maybe the only form of art I've never tried is like airbrushing. All right. And I don't think I've done a lot of spray painting stuff. Okay. Those are like two mediums I haven't worked much with. Digital, you want me to try digital? I can do that too. All right. Test me on that actual aptitude of what I can elaborate on as a skill of my own and then harvest it from the students I teach. Right. I understand that aspect. You want to quiz me a little bit in art history? Like, do I know what, an Albrecht Dürer illustration looks like? Do I know what, some of Hieronymus Bosch's most famous paintings are? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Right? That's fine. The European, Western greats, right? Stuff like that. Even Japanese, Eastern art, stuff like that. I know quite a bit of it, right? But that should be more of a minor aspect. We're not getting into like deep, deep, elaborate analysis of art throughout history. You want to quiz me about pop art and talk about like, Jean-Michel Basquiat, um, you know, people like that. That's fine. Everybody's seen that stuff. That's probably like the most relative thing to a kid that young because they've probably seen it on advertisements, products, things like Coke cans and stuff like that. But like getting into stuff like, um, is this the equivalent to a flying buttress that would be seen in Durham Cathedral on this piece of Arabic architecture? It's like, you know what? Maybe it is. Would this ever come up in class for K through 8? No. Why am I being quizzed on stuff like this? Anyway, hold on just a second. I've got to take care of this computer and this lunch. I'll be right back. Thanks for never doing it, bud. Clean this up, man. I shouldn't have to ask you 5 times, buddy. All right. So, anyway, rant over. That's what I wrote a letter about today. I'm sure it will go unnoticed, but I wanted to get in before whatever's happening with the Department of Education happens. If they're going to make changes, if they absolutely have to, if it's going to be scrapped, if we're going to lose the Department of Education, which is kind of whoa, um, then can we lose these tests too? Can we get rid of these subject area tests that have nothing to do with the actual skill involved in art? I am 5 foot 11 and 3/4 raw. That's how tall I am. I'm not actually completely 6 foot. 5'11 and 3/4. Anyway, sorry. Let me actually say hi to everybody and stop being so rude where I just rant for myself. Um, it has been pretty nice weather here in my area of Florida. Um, in elementary school, I remember there was a kiln that was hidden in a room that was locked that the art teacher that would only use, but I don't know, they're doing these days. Yeah, I mean, like, you can have a kiln room, but I think what like a lot of people don't understand, and it's definitely the people writing this test don't understand, they've never been an art teacher. They don't even understand the aspect of like clay dust, how much of an irritant that can be. If you have little baby kids, like little kindergartners and BPK that have asthma, I don't want clay dust in my room from a kiln. Like that can literally send somebody into like near suffocation, right? I mean, we don't let things like perfume and cologne be sprayed by our older middle school students because that can activate reactive asthma. It's something I've had in my past. I've had asthma in my past, so I know how hard it is to breathe when you're doing things like sports-induced asthma and stuff like that. I had it before. Um, I had to take a bunch of allergy shots and everything before it would go away. So to even risk it, with kids these young, whose little tiny lungs, they can't handle stuff like clay dust, even if they don't have asthma. I don't want it in my classroom. you know if there's a school where the school is completely art focused, for example, there's a place close to me called Manatee School of the Arts, that would make sense. Okay, I could see where a school like that, where a kid is going there because they think their future is being an artist, that maybe that would have a kiln, but I bet you they would have a lot of safety steps involved before they would ever allow that thing into the classroom. I still don't think kindergartners in a kiln, just because they both start with K, should be in the same room. I think that is a very, very bad idea. And the fact that that's even a question on the test tells me the person who wrote it never taught a day in their life. It's really obvious about that. Like the whoever wrote these subject area tests has never actually taught the subject to the grades. It seems something more like a college professor or maybe an adjunct professor may have written, where they thought like, these highfalutin artistic traits, conceptual and technical, are what every kindergartner should learn, just the same as my college students. Let's never hold students back. And it's like, yeah, that's great, tell them to shoot for the stars, but also realize that there is a limit, right? And also realize that there's layers you build upon as you create those artistic skills. Anyway, sorry, let me continue to say hi. Mark, thanks for joining again. Jonah, thank you so much for posting the link and being the admin on duty while we do this. Meadow, I could have sworn I made you a mod on here. I made you a mod on the board. Why are you not a mod on here? Give me a second. Add as moderator. Meadow, you're now a moderator. I don't know why you weren't a moderator before. You're a main moderator on my Discord. I don't know how you were not a moderator on here. That is sometimes this happens. I have one time where I made somebody a moderator on here and later they were not, and I don't know how that changed. Okay. Bro, just claim 6 foot like the rest of us. Yeah, okay, 6 foot. I mean, like, as soon as I put shoes on, I'm 6 foot tall, right? I don't want to be one of those guys like, what? I'm like 6'1", dude, 6'2", bro. And then like, no, you're definitely not. In Japan, I feel like a giant. In America, I just kind of feel average. I am one of the taller men at my school. I think I'm maybe the tallest guy at my school. No, no, there's an English teacher who's taller than me. Maro Cat asks, what do you find the most annoying in Japan? That's a great question. Um, um, yeah, I would say, God, there's a couple things. It's like, how annoying do we want to go? Like the absolutely most annoying. There's like small things like, you sit down on the train and people clear out because they think you're a gangster. When you're like, dude, I'm gonna sit here and read a book. Like, I don't know what you thought I was gonna do. Um, there is, um, the offhand comments where people think you can't understand their Japanese and like, ooh, his arm is scary. And we're like, are your blue eyes actually your real blue eyes? Like, do you have contacts? Or like, the weirdest one is do I have plastic surgery on my nose? Like, is your nose your real nose, or did you get plastic surgery to get it like that? It's like, I don't, is my, is my nose like a really great nose? I don't understand. Um, Meadow, thank you for asking. Maki's doing well. He actually has had um, a science presentation he did recently in a PowerPoint he had to write himself and then present himself. And he did so well on it that his teacher complimented how far his English has come. And like he got kind of like accolades by the entire class, and I'm super proud of him. He's come so far. Like it's incredible. I mean, he can speak a bunch of different American slang now. He understands probably more slang than I do. Um, you know, it, he has a bunch of his friends. They get together and play Roblox together online all the time, and they're telling each other all kinds of memes and slang that I don't even understand. So he has come a super far way, and I'm super proud. So it's kind of really lifted him up this past week. You know, he was dealing with a rough week last week. We're finally heading into spring break this week, so that also kind of lifts you up, gets you a little more motivated, and then also just finally getting my car fixed up enough. It's looking much much better. I want to take a picture soon to show you guys. I've had to change some stuff around on it. Had to like custom install some stuff, not to like look like a super Need for Speed type of car or anything like that, but just there's parts I had to replace, and then since I've had to do that, I've just kind of been like, well, if I'm going to replace it, I'm going to replace it with stuff I really want. Um, and I'm making it into the Umbrella Mobile, which you'll see it when it's finished. That won't really make much sense until I show it to you. Gosh, I'm trying to really answer Maro's question a little better. The absolutely most annoying thing. Hmm. Okay, I'd say probably the worst thing is when I have a question in Japanese and I'm there with my wife and I'll ask it. And I get it that I'm most likely have an accent. I probably have like a somewhat thick American accent when I ask something. And then they'll turn to my wife and ask her what I just said, even though I just said it in Japanese. My grammar was perfect. The words I used was perfect. And my wife has to point back to me and be like, he just asked the question why don't you answer him rather than talk to me with the answer? Or, and if you didn't understand him, ask him to repeat it. Like if his accent was too thick or something, just tell him say it again, right? I think that's the worst. It's like I am trying, I'm trying my best. Like I'm taking, even now I'm still taking Japanese lessons every single week. I probably speak at like a sixth grader level. Like I want to get to a level where I'm, high level advanced Japanese, where I speak like not just as an adult, but like I can get into even technical details of things like discussing politics or science or technology. And so I am making the effort. And I don't think it's too much to ask for someone to say, please repeat what you said in case my accent is too thick, right? Instead of turn to my wife and be like, who's this gibbering white boy? Please, Asian woman, tell me what he said. I feel like a dancing bear when they do that kind of thing. Like I'm some sort of circus animal on a leash that she's brought around with her. And I think she's obviously pissed off too when people do that. She's like, like he's asking the question, talk to him. Don't be like, oh, your silly use of Japanese. You Japanese woman, tell me what this, troglodyte is attempting to say. And um, kind of like I'm still here. I'm still asking questions. I'm you know, an entity in the room. Could I be acknowledged? Maybe. Um, yeah, thank you for asking, Meadow. I really appreciate that. Who's someone who's impacted your life the most that you'll never meet again? Hmm. Who's someone who's impacted your life the most that you'll never meet again? Maybe my grandmother. She lived to be 101, and I would ask her, "Hey, Deco, hey, use your scratching post. Don't scratch my wall. I got you a scratching post. Use that." Um, it's like literally the scratching post is next to the spot on the wall he likes to scratch. Um, my grandmother and I loved her. She was a very sweet woman, very, very caring, very empathetic, very, very selfless. I don't think there was a single selfish bone in her body. She was, in fact, so selfless at times that my mother, her daughter-in-law, would have to tell her like her nickname is Mock, which is kind of weird that my son's name is Maki, like, and her name was Mock. Oh, that's kind of interesting. She would be like, Mock, you don't need to bring anything when you stay at our house. We'll provide everything. Deco, stop, stop. You have a scratching post. Maybe you know what? I'm gonna put it right in front of that area. Hold on just a second. Here, Deco, right here, right there, that thing. The thing you scratched. I need to put like catnip on it or something like that. And she and I would sit. I would visit her like every summer and stay at her house, and she'd do things like cook me blueberry bread and stuff like that. That was just like amazing. But she would also tell me a lot of stories about the Great Depression. She dropped out of school when she was 12, I believe. Her father died. She's like one of 11. Um, she had to work in a sewing factory from the age of 12 in order for her mother to have enough money to afford their house. And so she's got like some wild stories about how rough it was to survive during that time. And I think that impacted me in a way where I realized how grateful I need to be for how easy I have it. I can complain about things like taxes or the wages we get paid or how expensive groceries are and things like that. But they were literally so poor back then that they were given like they look like little like pieces of monopoly money or like gambling chips that you would see at a casino, and they were given these little tiny like weird shaped chips that were to be used as money that could only buy groceries. And she told me for them like a treat, like a super special treat, was being able to spoon condensed milk out of a tin can. after they ate dinner. And that was like, holy cow, I can't believe we get dinner and we get to spoon feed ourselves condensed milk. If you've ever had condensed milk, it is very sweet, but it is not something you would eat as a dessert. That would be like spooning cinnamon as an ingredient as a dessert post meal. So, I mean, she survived through that and she had just like a great, caring, giving, selfless heart and lived her life thankful for what she had. Um, and if someone who came from that rough of a upbringing can do that, then I shouldn't have a lot of excuses. I shouldn't be trying to make a lot of excuses for myself. The idea of nobody cares, work harder, really kind of gets pounded into your skull when you realize nobody did care, and she did have to work harder from 12, not 22 like me when I graduated college because I was able to afford and go to it. Um, you know, I don't know. And of course, yeah, I can't see her anymore. She died at 101, but I mean, man, what a life. Kept her house Spartan level clean. I think that's one of the inspirations of why I keep my place so clean. Is when I would come in there, I'd just be like, my God, this place is clean. Like German levels of clean. That was her, because her mother was German. They left um, Europe during World War II because, they're about to be on the chopping block. So she was the first generation American. Um, wild, wild stuff. Yeah. Are there real life ninjas in Japan still? Ho- Horse kick. What do you think? Like I think you're just being sarcastic, but I've definitely heard that question before. It's kind of funny. All right. I mean, you know what? There's still cowboys in America, so um, uh, so maybe that's why people ask that question. Hold on, let me stretch this out a little bigger. Why is it such a weird shape? Okay, here we go. Ah, Ikram, dude, I'm so bad. I'm glad you're back. Dude, jump onto the Discord so we can give you a mod role again, dude. Dude, I'm so glad you're back. Dude, I'm stoked to see you again. Thank you for coming back, dude. Come on there so we can assign you your role for a mod. We want you to be on the mod team again. And we tried to shuffle everybody around to where they best fit. Like you were gone for a long time. Um, Brian Johnson lifestyle. I've probably seen who Brian Johnson is before, but I have to be reminded. Let me see. Oh no. This guy, I know who this guy is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The guy who takes like 4 billion pills a day. I do, I don't Here's one thing I don't understand about that guy. Like d I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a doctor, but doesn't taking like tons, like even if you're taking things like vitamins and stuff like that, like just taking a massive amount of like medication, vitamins, and all this other stuff, isn't that kind of like hard on your liver and your kidneys? And I mean, if you're doing that, like if your body's like processing pills and vitamins and all this, chemical based life enhancement stuff all day, I feel like that would put some wear and tear on your body, not add life to it. I don't know. How do I stay young looking at 45? Um, what I do, I'm sure would not work for everybody, but I do intermittent fasting. Even when you think I'm eating something nice and sweet, this is like the sweetest thing I eat all day is like a protein bar. Um, I don't, I try not to, I try not to waste my calories on anything that is even slightly junk, like absolute junk. Like nothing can be gained from it. Like you can eat McDonald's and you'll still get a bunch of protein from the burger. I don't consider that absolutely useless. But like you buy yourself a pack of like Skittles or Starburst, like there really is nothing in there that will help your body at all. aside from like fast track you to diabetes. um, I do intermittent fasting where, I only eat from about 5 p.m. to maybe, depending on how late I stay up, 8 to as late sometimes as like 11 if I'm like on stream with you guys. It's probably the latest you've ever seen me eat. And then I cut it off until I wake up and do the whole day again. I work out 5 times a week. Um, Mostly upper body. If I start to work out my legs actually add muscle so fast. I don't need to. Um, I try to stay hydrated nightly. I drink probably half a gallon, close to a gallon of water a day. I do mix some Crystal Light in there, which is like 5 calories, I think. What else do I do? If I have a craving for like a salty snack, I eat pickles rather than potato chips. Um, the fermentation in pickles can actually help a lot inside of your system, especially if you've ever seen the pickles that ferment to a level of white. I don't know exactly what all that stuff is called. I don't have the scientific knowledge, but that can actually help things like pro. Oh, that's my son's phone. I was like some kind of weird music started to play. Probiotics and like gut health is helped out quite a bit if you eat stuff like that. On top of it, I don't know if you've seen how many calories pickles are compared to potato chips, but you're like gaining very, very, very little calories in comparison. Like I think you could eat like a pickle like this big, and you'd get like 5 calories from that. And I mean, how many of those can you eat before you're full? Like one, two max, and then your craving for something salty goes away. Because I mean, that's what we have. We have a lot of desires and a lot of cravings as humans, and I feel like it's okay to fill those as long as you're filling them with a positive aspect. Um, you know, there's going to be like gaps and voids and things like that we need to fill throughout the day. How are you filling them? And are they being filled with things that are positive to both your body and your mind, right? Um, if you're anxious or you're depressed, combating that with things like exercise, and accomplishments, for example, like if there's something you've really wanted to do your whole life, are you filling that time where you're kind of like idle, with trying to accomplish that rather than dwell on what you're not accomplishing? Um, I feel like another thing that helps me out a bunch is I'm doing a job that I'm passionate about. So my 8 hours every day feel like they're worth it. Am I getting paid as much as I want? Of course not. Are we ever getting paid as much as we want? Probably not. Do I feel like what I'm doing is beneficial to both me and the scholars I teach? Absolutely. I love it, and there's I don't think there's much of a better situation I could be in for having an art degree. I get to use my skills, I get to expand my skills, and I get to relay those skills and possibly even harvest them from the actual students who wish to improve, advance, and enhance techniques and conceptual skill. So that's very refreshing and rewarding. I think that adds a lot to life, and I think a lot of people don't take into consideration how going against the grain of what your will and passion is for a daily job, which we all have to work, 8+ hours, how that can wear you and tear you down. Um, are you using that energy, that life energy you have to do something you're really connected to and positive with? And I know some people are going to say, "Well, I don't have the opportunity to do that," and it's true. I didn't either. I didn't either for a long time. I really struggled. Like there's times where I was in a situation where I was really depressed with a job I was working or something like that, and that's natural. That's totally natural. Um, but that doesn't mean the doors are closed on you ever getting that chance to do that. And I implore people to continue to move towards the opportunities that open more and more doors towards what will let them connect with what their passion is as far as a daily work cycle. It can be accomplished, okay? Think about some of like the famous people in Japan. People might not realize this. For example, Ampon Man, the guy who draws that, right? He became, I think he's actually passed away just recently, not too long ago. But um, he wanted to be an artist his whole life, and wanted to have like a cartoon anime series his whole life. Like that was his dream. He didn't hit that till he was like I think 42. That's when like the first time when he drew something it became extra viral and he was able to, you know, make a decent living off of it and follow his life's passion. Just because you're not hitting your life's passion or goals at like 20s, don't think life is over. There, there is a lot you have to experience. There's a lot of doors that got to get slammed in your face. There's a lot of um, times you're going to get turned down. And there is a certain amount of having to um, earn a certain level of respect to get into the doors you want to get into. You have to do your time, is what I always say to people. I think, um, and I'm completely guilty of this too. So I'm going to use myself as an example. That people graduate college or graduate high school. And this is I did this when I graduated college. I felt like I was owed a salary that I felt was worthy, that would have been enough to like be able to afford a house, to be able to work the job of my dreams, and to have those doors open to me ASAP because I had done my time as far as a student was concerned. What I did not understand nor realize was that I lacked the life experience, the job experience, and really, quite frankly, the maturity to even get my foot in the door into such a career. Um, I don't think I was even mature enough to handle the lower level jobs I did work at that time, let alone if I had been handed the job as an artist, an art teacher, an instructor, whatever. And I'm very happy that I spent time building those skills that eventually did open that door to me. Or were there times that it was depressing, hills and valleys? I think I never make it. Not that I've, made it big now. I'm gonna big money as an art teacher. No, but like the things I've learned in the past. For example, simply starting a YouTube channel gave me the orator skills to be able to speak and teach. That helped me immensely. Um, the English teaching jobs that I had in Japan taught me how to create a steady curriculum that layered itself and made the building blocks of what could teach somebody as far as a education path is concerned. So that helped me formulate how to be an art teacher. And in the meantime, my hobby of always continuing on with my art because it's a huge passion, kept my skills up to par so that I could seriously be considered for the job. Um, it it's an accumulation of things that get you where you want to go. And I think that's a healthier mindset that will keep your mind and body engaged and constantly pushing forward. And if your mind is in the right place, it's easier to get your body and health in the right place too. I think mental health is uh, by far way more critical to the body than anything else. I think a lot of people, try to pretend like it's like, no, like even if you're having a rough day, just push through it and like, get those gains, eat that healthy food and stuff like that. And I feel like, no, really, your mental health should come first. Um, and that's what kind of opens the first chakra, that follows through with the rest of your body, keeping in shape, keeping in health, staying in balance. Um, otherwise it's very hard. It's very hard to grasp, connect, and follow a lead as far as motivation is concerned. And without motivation, your health in many different ways deteriorates. Anyway, sorry, let me go back to saying hello to everyone. Mr. Boot, glad to see you here again. Nature Nerd 1000. Pixar's new Win or Lose series is actually pretty dark, way better than I expected. I'll have to check that out. Oh, speaking of which, thoughts, ideas, and what? Koga Ninja Village. There's Ninja Town. Yeah, I've been to that one. I actually had a friend who I met one time. There was a guy back when I was like my early 20s in Japan. There's a guy who was practicing his English at a bar one time, and he came up to me and he's like, "Do you like ninja?" And I was like, "Well." I mean, the idea is cool, but like obviously there isn't really ninjas. He's like, I am a ninja, and I was like, what do you mean? Like you're like an assassin or something like that? And he's like, no, I work at Ninja Town. And I was like, what is Ninja Town? So he gave me like his Meishi, which is like a business card, and he's like, come see. And like I did, I went out there and stuff. I saw that Ninja Village, Ninja Town, whatever you want to call it, and he was like, pretty lame, isn't it? And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, definitely little kids think this is really cool and stuff like that. Um, but he was like, it was just kind of like a really funny joke. Like, I thought that guy was really funny. Masahiro, I'll never forget, man. Yeah, pretty lame. Yeah, I think he actually said like, it is Dasai. And he was like all dressed up like a ninja and stuff. And I'm like, no, 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 dude, this is cool. Like, this is cool. You work here, dude. Don't talk down on yourself, man. This is pretty sick. It was really funny, dude. He was a cool guy. He had a really good sense of humor. Many videos on why I left Japan and criticism of Japan lately. Must be long-term COVID after effect, maybe. No, I mean like the main reason you're seeing a lot of people leave Japan is just there's no future for a gaijin who isn't on something like the nomad visa or a business visa or working abroad yet for like a sister company connected to the USD, right? Um, if you actually try to ingrain yourself within Japan's, very limited career paths for the average Gaikokujin, it's not really worth it. Um, Long hours, very, very little pay in comparison, especially when you do the exchange rate. The only people I've seen, really staying happy recently, really staying effective, and really staying afloat easily in Japan are my friends who work for an American company in Japan, a friend who can work remotely in Japan, or a friend who's a digital nomad where like they run a business online and can easily, make sales and continue to survive off of that and get a visa via that. I would like I literally my some of my most recent videos are telling people to really, really consider if they want to be an English teacher in Japan. And it's sad. Um, my channel started by trying to help people and convince people that it was possible for them to do this. And now I'm kind of sent in the opposite direction just due to how impossible almost it is to survive. I mean, it's really unless you're a single, post college, just got out of college student. Hold on, I want to turn on this other light over here. And you know, your goal is just like a short term, not to create a life there, not to, start a family, not to live a long term career in Japan. Um, if it's just to like, kind of have like a post college exploration vacation, sort of work visa type experience, I think that's okay. But I think attempting to start a long term life in which um, you do more than just date. You attempt to find a spouse or start a family on a English teacher's salary would be inadvisable at best. Is all I can say. I mean, it's just most of the people I know who are still there are making around the equivalent to about $1,500 a month, not biweekly, a month, to like maybe as much as 2,000 if they're lucky. And that is not advisable to try and start a family on in Japan. That would be not a good situation. You could get married to somebody who is also working their own career, and together, I think, live happily. Um, Now, it really depends on what your spouse's career is. If it's something that is, um, a high paying career path, maybe. Um, but if you want to be the sole breadwinner and be an English teacher, even starting your own school, it's rough, dude. Most of the people I know who own their own school do that and work and job on top of it. Like they have to work a full time job and then run their school at night post job. And that's because English is a luxury. It's not compulsory. And so the first places that are going to get, cash from parents for teaching their kids are the JUCOs, the cram schools. My favorite seafood, ebi, ebi. Jumbo ebi. It's shrimp if you don't know. I could eat shrimp anything, dude. Shrimp sushi is so, I don't know, the steak sushi is really good too, man. I love steak sushi. I got to get something to drink. I'm drying out. Anyway, uh, let me get back to some of this. Let me just make sure I'm checking in on like there's questions and stuff like this coming. $2,000 a month to start a family. You can expect the wife and in-laws start making trouble after 2 to 3 years. Um, yeah, yeah, it's in your bedroom, man. Left it in there. It should be connected to your white. I didn't take it out of there. Oh no, wait, maybe it is out of there. Wait. Um, Shoot, where did it go? Hold on, give me a second again. Sorry. Oh, it's in there. It's because you had it like unplugged and underneath the bed, and I didn't want it to get lost. Okay, sorry. Um, okay, okay. When I was in Japan, I went from a teacher's salary, 24,000 K USD, to 55,000 working for an Australian investment firm. Still super low compared to USA salaries, but darn good for. Yeah, man. If you were making 55K in Japan, you'd be living large, dude. Yeah. Now trying to survive on 24K a year, dude. Holy crap, man. That would be brutal with how much taxes are now in Japan. Can you imagine thoughts, ideas, and what? Dude, that'd be rough. Dude, I'm glad to hear though that you made that. Like, see, like this is advisable. What he's done here, like he's gone from teaching, like still, like if you want to get your foot in the door with teaching, and then you've got like a long-term plan where you're gonna, grab onto um, a foreign company that has a business there, starting your own business that I would really say it's outside of teaching now. I would not suggest doing teaching. Go for it. I'm not trying to crush the dreams of anybody trying to make a life there. Um, but I want people to seriously consider those who want to make it long term if teaching is really the route they want to go because it is, like I said, inadvisable now to consider a long term life in Japan on an English teaching salary. It's just not. The salary, the job, the placement is not keeping up with the taxes, the costs, and the living environment of Japan. And I know some people I always get hit with this one. It's like, why don't you just move out to the countryside? Renting is super cheap out there. That's true. You're absolutely right. But the jobs are like nowhere. Like there, not a lot of people in the middle of the countryside want to learn English. Oh, what did my friend just send? Every time I make my cinnamon toast, it reminds me of the. Oh no. Um. So let me see here. Gentlemen, I'm back. How you? I'm you good. In referencing a line from Mothra versus Godzilla. Okay. 54K single, no kids in Japan is oh man, yeah, you living the good life. It's Friday. Chicken wings incoming for sure. Oh, I actually already ate it before stream. I ate it before stream. I did finally get it. Um, Shrimp, yeah, dude. I could eat shrimp all day, man. Ah, I love shrimp. Hearing this is a good reality check for me, not gonna lie. Like B, if your dream is to come to Japan and start out as an English teacher, don't give up on that, but make sure you have a long-term plan. Like if you just want to stay in Japan for like a year and teach English, yeah, you could do that, man. No worries. Like a lot of the people who come to my channel are looking to make like a life in Japan. And for me to be, sort of empathetic to that and be logical at the same time, I have to, cut it down to the brass tacks and make sure they understand that like and especially too because like my past videos pushed it so much that it was like, yeah, dude, you can do this. Like, just become an English teacher and surviving's easy. Like, it really was. It really was back in 2007, 2008, probably all the way up to like, 13, 15, 2013, 2015. It was really, yeah, like I would say really when we hit the COVID and post COVID time, it just became absolutely inadvisable. I can't pretend, I can't lie. And I just don't want to put somebody in a bad situation where they're like, dude, Scott said it would be easy to make it. This is not going well. Like, you hear these people who they're like, I don't know why they think it's so hard. I got a job with GABA. And then they get out there with GABA and they realize GABA pays so low that you're almost trapped in Japan. Like you can't even afford your ticket to get back out if you didn't buy a two-way ticket, right? Like you're kind of screwed. And I don't want to see somebody put in that situation. I've heard they pay as low as like 1,200 a month, which my God, you better be living inside of like I don't know what, the equivalent to like a porta potty pushed over sideways to make sure you can afford rent. Um, Jason, what's up, dude? Hey, Scott, how's it going, brother? Released a new video. Hope you like it. Oh, dude, I'll go check it out for sure, man. Thrustavius, dude, we haven't seen you in a while, man. Glad to see you back. This is awesome. Scott, did you ever hang? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you ever have an instance when you were in Japan that scared you that you thought it was gonna be your end? No, no, I don't think so. I think, well, okay, yeah, kind of. Okay. Um, I told you guys the whole story about like the health scare I had where like I had what do you call it again? A polyp, a polyp. I had a polyp in my digestive tract that was bleeding. Um, and every day I'd wake up for like, it was like for a year straight, I'd wake up and feel like I wanted to go right back to sleep. Like I was like, I had no energy. And it was while I had my school going, like the first couple of years I had it going, and it was rough, rough. Like it was really hard to stay out of the red. There was like months I was out of the red and months I was like deep in the red. And pretty much my gut was bleeding out. Um, and I had to have this polyp removed. And at first, I had like this massive checkup where they did a colonoscopy. They stuck a camera down my guts. And they were like, "Ooh, what's this? This is not good. This could be cancer. This could be like blood cancer or like stomach cancer or like intestinal cancer." I was like, "Holy crap, I have cancer!" And they're like, "You need to go to like a blood specialist, a stomach specialist, and they sent me to all these specialists. And finally, they're like, "Okay, you don't have blood cancer. That's good." After they took like 8 vials of it. And then finally, when I got to the stomach guy, he was like, "Okay, what you've got is like you're bleeding so much from your guts that like your iron level is like way, way, way too low, and that's why you feel like you want to like just pass out every day." And so I had to go to a colonoscopy and get the polyp removed. And like literally, probably like weeks later, I felt like a new person. I felt like everything was back to normal, but um, that's a time where I was letting my body go. I was eating crap. I was probably the fattest I had ever been, which I wasn't like, you've never seen a video of me like overly bloated fat or anything like that. But I think I was like, I want to say like I was like 180 pounds at that time. Like I had a little bit of a gut. Um, my face was all like bloated. My skin was like super pale. People were writing comments that were like, "Hey, I know you're called Unrested, but like I think you really need to get rest, dude. You're not looking good." Like there's like rings under my eyes. My complexion was just like ghost white. And I didn't even notice it. Like I didn't look at myself in the mirror and be like, "Holy shit, what's wrong with me?" I just knew I felt like crap. And I thought it was mostly because I was too stressed out about my school. Um, I really just thought that. I thought I'm like, I'm putting too much stress on myself. Got to take it easy. And really, I was just like eating bad. I was actually too stressed out to the point that, like, um, I had a polyp in my gut. I had headaches all the time, and I was taking too much medicine for headaches. And it was tearing my stomach up to the point that I got a polyp. So that was probably the scariest time where I thought this is the end. Like when they told me, like when I came away from that checkup where they said, I don't know, this could be like blood cancer or stomach cancer. I was just like, holy shit, I'm dead. I'm dead. It was rough. It was rough. It was scary. Um, but it was a wake up call, man. It was a wake up call, and I think it was kind of like a wake up call to my wife too, where she kind of thought like maybe it's time for you to get out of this business and like start to like really consider what's healthy for your future. I didn't close the business or anything like that. I still went for another 3 years, but I think she saw. Deco, can you not scratch it, please? I don't know how to stop him. I don't know how else to stop. I gotta look. I gotta research that. How do you stop a cat from scratching a place you don't want him to scratch anymore? Turn up the volume more. Oh shoot. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'll put it a little bit closer too to my face. Hold on. We'll turn it towards me. Let me see. Anything else I can do? The volume's maxed out. Let me check one other thing though. Properties. Mew. Go ahead, jump up here, buddy boy. All right. Hopefully I'm a little bit louder now. Go ahead. Come say hi. Go ahead, come say hi. Yeah, we'll jump up here. Yeah, go ahead. All right, we'll come up here. I know you don't want me to. Okay, you want me to pick you up? Here we go. Come on. Oh, that's a big boy. Ah. See, if you pick him up, he gets pissed off then. And he's like, I'll jump up there the way I want to. Don't pick me up. All right, sorry. I'm just trying to be nice. Um, oh, I sound okay? All right. So hopefully the recovery, it was a little bit weird for a while. We had to shut the school down for a week, which was kind of like that was just kind of scary. I just felt like, what am I doing? Like I'm doing something, working something, and running something that's like tearing the inside of my body apart. Sorry, usually I have my big drinking gallon thing, but it's in the washer right now. So I'm drinking straight from the gallon. I'm hardcore like that. Um, yeah. Gustavius, I hope you've been okay, man. We haven't seen you in a long time. I hope life's treating you good. I hate when you click on somebody's name and that's the first thing it asks. Which is better airplane service to travel to Japan from? If I had a choice, Mantis, I would go with JAL every day. JAL's just incredible. Um, JAL's amazing. Let's see. Let me just go back and make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh shoot, Mr. Boot. I didn't even think about that one. The insurance scam that couple ran on me. Ugh. I didn't feel like that was the end though. I just felt like just like disappointed. Who's trying to call? My mom? Okay, hold on. It's my mom. I'll call her. Hold on. Doing a video. I will call you in just a bit. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna finish up soon anyway here. It's Friday night, and as much as excited as I am that I'm about to be, on break for the next 9 days. God, Fridays, man, they kind of kick my butt every time. It's always because it's like a full week of school, and then Friday, it's just oh yeah, yeah. We have these parties we do for the kids, which they love it, and I'm always happy to celebrate with them. It's called character parties, like celebrate good behavior and stuff like that. Um, but it's a new set of kids every 25 minutes, and it just like rotates super fast. There's no breaks in between. Well, sorry, no, there is. There's like 5 minute break, but I mean, in that 5 minute break, you're like setting up for the next class to come, and I mean, it is just kind of like doing circuits in the gym. That's kind of how it feels. It's pretty hardcore, but it wears you out. But again, you got to be thankful for what you have if it's letting you do what's your passion, and that for me, that's art. For example, I drew a giant coloring paper for them to do today of like a spring scene and stuff like that. And the fact that that's part of my job, that I'm drawing giant pictures for kids to color, like that's super awesome. It's using my skill, it's using my passion, and it's also giving something back to the kids who I teach so that they're enjoying school. So it really works out. Your health is your wealth. That is so true, Mantis. You really don't realize that until you go through like a health scare like that. I think the biggest scares are the biggest and harshest lessons in life teach you the most as far as like my house being destroyed by a hurricane, um, dealing with thinking, you might have cancer. Um, I had a health scare with my son, my older son when he was much younger where he had like kind of a skin problem. They thought he was like couldn't eat gluten and all this different stuff. um, and there was kind of a health scare with him. He's taking medicine now that like he like lost a lot of his hair and stuff, and had to take like a medicine to get it to come back. But before that happened, like they thought it was all this other stuff. Um, they thought it was like early onset. Dang it, what do you call it? Arthritis. He had a problem for a while when he was younger, where cold weather would make his joints swell up. And that's kind of gone away now too as he's gotten older. And the craziest thing is like the doctors never had like they're like it might be this and maybe it's this and just kind of like what is going on? Like this I thought we had like more science than this. Like and they were like maybe it's early arthritis and stuff and he might have to take steroids as a young child and I was just like holy shit like it turned out like it was just something he grew out of over time. He did like have a problem with alopecia and stuff like that, but he did eventually find a medication that worked for him that allowed him to grow his hair back now. And so I mean big 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 like life shaking things like this where you're like scared of losing your place that you live, your life, the life of a loved one. Um, Even recently with my car, I got in a car accident where the bumper was screwed up. And as bad as that was, it made me think, yeah, I got a bumper that I got to get fixed now, and it's going to put my car out of commission for a couple days. But it could have been my house. It could have been my house. And also, me and my son were both not hurt in the accident. So I really got to be thankful, right? I feel like that teaches us the most in life when we can compare a tragedy that we've had in the past to what we're suffering through now, as rough as it is and as hard as it is to get through and get out to the other side of that tragedy. Those teach you what's important in life and how good you have it too, right? If my car was, broken enough that I couldn't even use it for a week or days, I have friends at work who would give me a ride every single day, probably for months if I really needed it. I didn't have to do that. I got it fixed in 1 week, and I'm super lucky. Um, if my house had been damaged enough that I couldn't live inside of it, I have a family who would have let me move back to their place, which that would have sucked. But I have to be so thankful that I have a loving family that would have allowed me to do that. We really have to put things into perspective, and really understand like how good we have it at times. And it's easy to let yourself kind of get into like a spiral of like, if only it was better, if only it was better, like if only I made this much, if only I had this much. Like, you know what I would love, it'd be like the biggest blessing to me right now if I could finish paying off my mortgage, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people who have that same feeling. But the fact that I could get a mortgage for a house and the fact that I can pay it every month is something I need to be thankful for, rather than complain like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to pay this for the next 10 years." Like, yeah, no joke, but like, hey, at least you got into a situation where you have something to live in that is yours, and when you finish paying for it, you're done. You know, so rough. That's rough, rough stuff. But I think, um, having dealt with those rough things, the stuff that we consider monumentally huge as far as obstacles or roadblocks to our happiness, are not quite as bad, in comparison. Unrested drinks from a larger gallon colored liquid. Is he natty though? Yo, are you kidding? I mean, well, I take like some supplements, right? Um, BCAAs, to keep yourself like full of electrolytes and stuff like that. I take a multivitamin. I take, I definitely consume enough protein to hold muscle. When you get past 35, you lose like a pound of muscle every year as a male. So I make sure I am taking the level of protein I need for my height and weight, in which I can continue to hold on to the muscle I have built. And trust me, if I don't work out those 5 days a week, I start looking like a slob pretty fast. I start like sagging everywhere pretty fast. Um, so it's it's a lot of maintenance. Dude, you're lucky. I'm priced out here in California. Oh God, I can't imagine trying to afford a place in California. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have to be thankful. Like, I know some people are complaining right now about the prices of houses in Florida, and like they are higher than they've ever been. And I will say, absolutely, salaries are not keeping up with the rise of home costs right now. Um, I forgot what I was watching the other day where they said it was a clip from Boy Meets World, and him and Topanga are trying to buy a house, and the house, they're like, "How will we ever afford this house?" And they're like, "It is $80,000." And I was like, "Holy crap! I wish I could have a house for $80,000." They're like, "How am I ever gonna pay that off?" And they're like, "Yeah, we only earn like I forget. They only made something like together. They made 4,000 a month, like their salaries combined." And like the guy was doing the math that was showing the clip, and he was like, they could eat like their mortgage would have been about 750 a month. They would like easily survive. Um, Even one paycheck could pay their mortgage weekly. You know what I mean? Like 1 week of pay could pay like a whole month. And I was like, God damn, dude. I mean, I will say I'm super lucky. Like my cost of mortgage per month is way lower than my friend who rents a 1 bedroom apartment, um, which is insane. It's insane. It's not just insane. It's greedy to a point of pricing people out of houses, and that's sad. Um, that's sad and that's brutal. Hmm, I don't know. Tickle-chan, what you doing? Well, then hop up here. Stop being such a baby bobo butt and get up here. You cutie cupcake. Come on. Okay, well then jump up here. Here. I'll move my big gallon. Okay, now you run away again. I'll bet you if I brought a snack over here, you'd be up here in a second. Calcium, vitamin D, and magnesium. Help your elbow heal. Make sure you take what is the thing? Glucosamine, right? I had an elbow injury from lifting a little while back, and I took glucosamine, and it healed up in like 2 weeks. You seen that video going around, but those were 90s prices for sure, LOL. Renting is insane. Renting seems almost like malicious at this point. Um, of course I looked into renting before I finally bought a place, and it would have just been impossible to save enough to buy a place. I mean, you got to put down 10K minimum. So like I had to save that up before I could even seriously consider buying a place. And that was scary. If I bought a 2 bedroom place, my son and I, right, we each get our own bedroom, right? You're looking at $2,400 a month. Like maybe if you got a super cheap place, 2,000. And that's Florida, in the middle of the countryside of Florida. 2,000 a month? That's more than even one of my paychecks. That's insane. And that's sad and that's scary. Now owning a place that's 3 bedrooms, 1,500 square, 15,000, 15,000, 1,500 square feet. I'm paying almost half of that, about almost half. What, 2,400 I said? I'm paying 1,300, close to that. So it's not making sense why rent should be that much. I don't get it. Um, I think for Florida, the big thing that's killing rent, that's annihilating people for trying to get rent, um, is the fact that the place renting now has to have insane insurance for hurricanes. And so they're putting that cost onto the renter. And insurance for insuring a place, because they've got to insure the entire outside and roof of the apartments, condos, whatever you're renting, is insane. And then some of these places, on top of renting, you've got to be part of the HOA. What the fuck, dude? Have you seen like HOAs are just, unless they include like a lot of utilities, such as like internet, a gym, water, maybe electric too. Unless they include a lot of stuff like that, they're just highway robbery. A lot of them are just like absolutely robbery. I believe my parents' HOA is somewhere close to $700 a month. A month, man. Every 3 months, I only have to pay $600 for my HOA. So that's $200 a month for mine. That's pricing people out too. That's insanity. That's insanity. I don't know, man. It's scary and it's sad, and I don't know. I worry a lot for just the future of Americans in general. And I'm not like saying like, oh, I worry a lot for the future of like educators or blue collar workers or white collar workers or the middle class or, you know, this political party or that political party. I just worry for Americans in general, dude. I just worry like, is it ever going to be a humane pricing again? Like, are we going to continue to have things like this climb higher and higher until we end up owning nothing? And that's scary. I don't want to see my country become like that. Um, I want to take pride. I want to say we are a place of opportunity. Hold on, he's stepping on my wires. I want to see my own children have a chance for opportunity in America. You know, are the days of white picket fences and owning your own, property, house, whatever. Like, is that ever coming back? I don't know, man. I really don't want to see this whole like you'll own nothing and be happy situation that people make a joke about. I don't want to see a meme become real life. Whomever's responsible for rising prices and such while doing jack about wages has to be a dragon in disguise. Is it dragons or is it the Illuminati, Meadow? Um, it's the infinitely wealthy. I mean, I don't know. It's scary. It's scary and it's sad. And people always want to ask me like what my opinion is on the current political climate in America. Like, they're saying that I've seen all these drastic changes and everything happening in your country. Um, Personally, for me, not a lot has been affected one way or the other. I haven't seen a change in prices. I haven't seen a change in taxes. I haven't seen a change in, education. I'm not saying like bad or good. Um, I haven't seen a change in my job. Um, so I'm kind of like at a moot point because I haven't really seen anything affect me just as of yet. Um, I don't know. What did you say here, Thrustavius? All the monopolistic shit with housing, like with BlackRock and China, are the main cause. That's an interesting point you bring up, and I want to actually kind of speak out to those of you who have been home buyers in the last year. Did you? So when I bought my house, there were actually um, new sections added um, to buying the house. When I applied for the loan, you have to, you apply for the mortgage. I say it's not a loan; it's a mortgage. Um, you have to prove you're not Chinese. Like you can't be Chinese and buy property. I think it was like, you know, y- they wanted to make sure I wasn't like, are you a Chinese national or like, you sure you're not from China? Um, I'm just like, no, no connection to China. Um, have you lived in China in the last couple years? No, I haven't. There was like a lot of stuff check because a lot of mortgage companies don't want to sell to China right now because there were people buying up huge swaths of land and stuff from China. Um, and part of me gets it because, they're part of the CCP, right? Communism, you never own any land or house if you're under communism. The government owns it forever. You lease it from the government, right? So a lot of people, and this happens actually in Japan too, and they're buying up large chunks of Japan too. They want to own land, which I completely sympathize with. Like I understand wanting to own a property. I am very happy to be able to own this. And the fact that I've even got like a yard, right? Worst comes to worst, and my kids can't afford a place, they can inherit mine, right? Same with Japan. We own a place there. We're almost finished paying that one off. And it's like, worst comes to worst, our kids can have that, when my wife and I pass on. And that is a huge comfort. That is a huge sigh of relief. Um, and I don't feel anger towards Chinese people for wanting to have that. Um, at the same time, I understand the American government and the Japanese government kind of being like, do we want to keep selling huge chunks to another country? That's kind of scary too, right? Um, I don't know. Strange, and somewhat disturbing point of history to be living through right now, right? Um, I want to see an end to wars internationally. I want to see all that stuff end. I don't know if I agree with every single way that things are trying to be stopped, but I want to see an end to all that. I want to see an end to the Ukraine war. I'm glad America's got Hamas giving hostages and stuff back. Um, the war in Gaza and stuff has kind of ended pretty much, I guess, and that's nice to see. I'm glad we're no longer in Afghanistan doing wars and stuff out there. Um, I still don't feel like things are stabilizing whatsoever. Um, I don't feel like I don't feel like things are getting better. And I'm not putting that on either political party. I'm not putting that on Democrats or Republicans. Please realize this. I'm not taking a side here. But I really feel like things are just kind of up in the air being juggled right now. And I don't feel like there's like a finish line or a goal or a point on the horizon that I can point to and say, when this finally happens, everything will start to go back to normal, right? Like, for example, when we had COVID and stuff, we knew once that finished, um, everything would go back to normal and be like, okay, this is probably going to be done, you know, and we'll go back to normal. But what we're in right now, whatever sort of, I don't know, chaos we're in right now, I don't know when that's going to go back to normal. And I'm not saying there's anybody to blame. I'm not saying there's a finger we need to point at anybody in particular. I'm just saying things don't feel steady. It feels very nebulous right now where we're at politically, historically, financially, emotionally as a country. I hate seeing us so divided. Um, I still want to give hugs to my Democratic and Republican friends on both sides. I don't want to see the internet completely tear people apart. That's so scary to see. Um, I don't know, man. You're optimistic right now? I don't want to say I'm pessimistic for sure. Like, I don't feel like I'm like, oh my God, we're headed down the hole. We're spiraling. I don't feel like that. I will say that. I don't feel like I'm not like, if you think it's bad now, the worst is yet to come. Like, I don't feel like that. And actually, hold on just a second. I want to grab, really in the mood to eat some cucumbers. This guy wants cucumbers with me. Oh my God, cucumbers and ranch. Give me just a second. Let me grab them. All right, let me just snap these a second. We're gonna eat them first. I get to eat the sneakies first. Where's the top to your Gatorade? Why are you putting it in there with no top? All right. What are you in the mood for? Hamburg? Okay. You got it, right. Hey, Alexa, turn on kitchen. What did you get the channel? What did you get the channel? All right, Matthew, I got it started for you. Hey, Alexa, turn off kitchen. But I think, one thing we've got to think about is, we've got each other here, right? It's late where I am and I want to keep drawing, but my brain is saying stop. It happens every time whenever it gets late. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, like, there's times you got to take breaks no matter what. There's times where my hands hurt so bad because I'll go for like 12 hours where it's like, I got to take a break on this. Um, I feel like if your mind starts to wander too much while you're drawing and like or you notice like your form, shape, or abstractions start to fall a bit, you just take a break. You can come back to it. It'll still be there. I'm about to eat my microphone. Aaron, what's up? So far, everything has been normal, but I still don't know how long that will be. Mark, that's how I feel. You've just described my entire feeling in one simple sentence. Everything seems normal, but I don't know how long that'll be. And I'm not saying like it'll become destabilized, not normal, or it'll go down the tubes. It may get way better, who knows? I just don't know. Um, what? Streamer got stabbed and killed. Hold on, we're going right now. Is it a Japanese streamer you're talking about? I I don't know. I don't watch the news. Yeah, yeah. Throstavius, I will say, I've kind of really backed off. I don't know if this has to do with like me being on ADHD medication, but two things I've kind of really backed off from where I'm just like, I don't want to listen to it anymore. Like I can't. I used to really be into the news, with just make sure I stayed updated every day. And I used to be okay with listening to a lot of true crime. And recently, I don't really want to have that be as much in my life anymore. And it's not that I hate the news that's coming out. It's not that I, hate all true crime. Once in a while, I'll listen to a story. But I used to be really big into kind of saturating my listening time to both of those. And these days, I would much rather listen to the lore of a video game, um, maybe like just like a fictional story, or the history of something. And I want to get away from I want to get away from the news because I feel like it's so leaned into both sides of the political spectrum that all it's out to do is to stab the other one. Like all they want to do is run stories like, can you believe the right did this? Can you believe the left did this? Like, and it's like, can you guys just both chill? Like, can you both shut up about each other for 1 second? It's like a bickering set of siblings who are like, well, he punched me first. Well, he was kind of pulling my hair and pinched me when you weren't looking. And it's like, can you both shut up and just get along? Well, I'm sick of you guys doing this in the back of the car. Quit it, or we're gonna pull over. Throstavius, yeah, I've seen in the past where true crime stuff has been done in an analytical way, which I understand. But I have now seen recently where some people who've gotten into it get into like almost like picking apart personal information about people to a point of like almost doxing, and that gets kind of sickening. For the most part, I can't watch any true crime that has to deal with any kind of kids, like kid type stuff. Like if a kid's murdered or anything, I just can't. I can't anymore. I don't have a stomach for it anymore. Um, And in general, I don't know what it is, man. I feel like I can't have my listening time, which little time I have to like sit down and enjoy listening to something. I feel like it's not constructive if I'm constantly listening to true crime. Like it's not adding anything. Like I've heard of a billion murders at this point. I've heard of a billion like assaults, crimes, thefts, all this stuff. Um, and I feel like I'm not doing anything great for my mind to listen to this stuff on repeat. You know, if there's a really, really, really interesting case where I'm like, what did happen with that? Like, what that was never fully looked into and stuff like that. I'll check out the long-term story about it when it's been unraveled. Um, like, okay, like I guess this isn't really true crime, but somewhat morbid of like Gene Hackman and his wife, like what exactly happened there was very strange. Where like she got sick, and then because he had dementia, she couldn't take care of him, and he died. You know, I wanted to see because I was just like, what happened there? Which is a really sad situation. But I was really interested to know like what's the final result, like what happened. Um, I feel the whole genre is kind of disgusting, to be honest. Like, imagine someone making media and profiting off of your loved one dying violently. Yeah, like even me, when I cover something that is a crime in Japan, I'm very careful with what I'll cover because I feel like you can't do that in a way um, all the time that is respectful. Okay, hold on. I got to flip over these. I've got Hamburg cooking right now, and I got to flip it over real quick. I'll be right back. All right, I hear you. I hear you. How many can you eat, Bucky? One or two? One or two? Huh? Just one? You're sure not two? Okay. Get out of here, dude. You're not eating this. This is for people food. Exactly. This is people food. Bye bye. I did cover that one true crime this year. That um, decapitation that happened in Hokkaido, which was very disturbing to read about. And for me, what was the most horrifying was the fact that, and I need to keep looking up this story you're talking about. Aaron, was it? It was a Japanese streamer. Is that? I'm sure that's probably what you're talking about. I think I slightly saw something about. Yeah, comes up right away. Oh my God. Police in Japan said Friday that they had arrested a suspect in a fatal stabbing of a YouTuber while she was live streaming on a downtown Tokyo street. Tokyo Metropolitan Police said they had arrested Kenji Takano, 42, on the spot on suspicion of attempted murder Tuesday. Um, if she was stabbed to death, how is it attempted murder? He has since been sent to the prosecutors but has not been charged yet. The victim, Airi Sato, 22, was rushed to a hospital with critical injuries after the attacker stabbed her repeatedly in the upper body, police said, and was later pronounced dead. Good God. Witnesses and live stream viewers said they heard her screaming for help, and the stream suddenly went black. Kyoto News reported that the witness said she saw a man wearing a black hat and mask attacking the woman at the scene, and after she fell down, he held a smartphone towards her. The New York Times reported that the following the attack, Sato's followers posted messages including, "Where did she go? Someone help." Suspect told police that he got to know Sato through her live streaming and had seen her in person a number of times and that they had a financial dispute, according to the media reports, including the Asahi newspaper. Kyoto News, citing police, reported that it is believed that he began lending her money around 2022. Um, According to Kyoto News, Sato was attacked while live streaming on an app called Who Watch and walking alone near the Takadono Baba train station in Shinjuku Ward. Never heard of that place before. Takada no Baba. Takada no Baba? I've never heard of that place before. Takada no Baba. Where's that? I'll have to look that up. I know where Shinjuku is, but that's the ward. That's not the place. Um, NHK reported that Takano had lent Sato a large sum of money and that she did not repay him. What? What's going on? What the hell is this? Something weird where like looking at this news site is causing my monitors to refresh. That's really annoying. I hate this about news sites now. You try to read it, like they refresh so much, it almost makes it impossible. Takano, I gotta get off of this. This thing is like constantly. She died, so it's murder. Yeah, right? Like it's not. Why are they saying attempted murder? She's dead. Um, NHK reported that Takano had lent her a large sum of money and she did not repay him despite a court order to do so. Takano traveled from Oyama City, about 60 miles north of Tokyo, to carry out the attack after Sato announced a live stream and tracked her down to her location. Watching the footage, media reports said. God. He told police he did not intend to kill her. Violent crimes are still very rare in Japan, where gun control is extremely strict, but there have been a number of high profile knife attacks and others using handmade guns in recent years amid a bleak wage and employment outlook. Mm. Wow, that site sucks, man. That site, like every time the page would refresh, it would refresh all my monitors, even though it's only opened on one monitor. That's ridiculous. That's sad, dude. See, like that's the kind of stuff where it's just like, damn, dude. Even a place like Japan's not violent. It's really not that violent. And we have an attack like that, dude. He didn't intend to kill her. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we better let him off then. It's so weird in Japan how it goes like 0 to 100 when it comes to like crime, like violent crime. Like that idiot who burned down um the manga corporation. I forget what the name of it is. I should know. Kyoto. I believe it was Kyoto Manga. And his reasoning for do so was because he read a manga they made and he said like, I think they copied my idea. Like, what? What? And when he got taken to court and everything, they were like, "What idea did you think they copied?" And he like didn't have anything. Like he didn't, it was like, "Well, like I drew it a long time ago, and I don't have the drawings anymore." So it's always like some super crazy dude. Sometimes a crazy girl too. Never understand murders over dumb shit like this. Throw your entire future away over getting played or whatever was happening with this girl. There's crazy people everywhere. Yeah, you're totally right, Aaron. Mm, hmm. But but to be fair to our world. in our human race. Um, this is a disgusting, disturbing, violent story that is ultra rare, right? Like it's not like we've heard about one of these happening every month or even every year in Japan, right? Um, so I guess that's good, right? And sadly, one of the worst things about our whole entire media system is no good news ever makes the newspaper page, right? If it is good news, it's always like editor's note. This charity event happened. Just thought I'd tell you, right? Kadokawa? But what do you mean Kadokawa? For what? They said it happened in Shinjuku Ward, and the place was Tadaka no Baba. I'd never heard of that place before. Why? What happened? How does that mess you up? What happens? You can't leave or anything? What do you mean? I don't even know what he's talking about. So leave and find out. You mean ban forever? You'll get banned forever from the game? Okay. Don't believe everything people tell you. Remember, there's a lot of cameras on you. All right, buddy. Come eat. Make sure you eat before that gets cold. Don't let it get cold. Oh. Anyway, crazy, right? What season did we use for the Hamburg? Demi um demi glaze. Demi glaze, a bit of garlic salt, um Worcestershire, garlic, cloves, and honey nut Cheerios. No, I added that one at the end. I don't know. I'm not that crazy. Quite reminds one to know. I don't go that nuts on it. If you add too much, he gets upset. He's not happy with it. You got to keep it kind of simple. Um, it's like the bozo in the U.S. who found his lonely fans. Lonely fans. I haven't heard it called that one. I like that. Lonely fans. Girl's address set her car on fire and slept in his car. The police body cam is hilarious. Dude has every tool for the crime in his car. Not smart. And he was on camera. No, no, it wasn't Squid Game. No, apparently the guy did like actually send in pictures. Like he drew stuff and sent it in. Like, obviously anybody can do that. Um, he drew stuff and sent in pictures, and they get stuff like that all the time. There's kind of like, oh, thank you for your participation with Kyoto Manga Works and stuff. Maki, make sure you eat it before it goes cold, man. Don't let it get cold. It's gonna be disgusting if it's cold. Um, and it's like just basic. Right there. You can move it if you want. Like just it was like basic Henshin Rangers type stuff. Like the equivalent to like um Mighty Morphin Power Rangers type stuff. Are you eating it in the bed? Please don't get any on my bed, okay? All right. Um, I don't know. It's just sad to see. Like stuff like that, like I'm interested to hear the story about why it happened, but it's still really sad to hear. And we also, guys, we always got to keep in mind this is like it's not happening every day. Um, I feel like there was less shootings in America this year at schools and stuff. Maybe let's check that out. Um, yeah, in 2024, the number of school shootings decreased compared to the previous year. It says there was over 330 incidents recorded, and it's the second highest number since 1966, falling falling just 19 below the all-time high of 349 in 2023. Uh, that's not great. Mm. The scary thing is because I work in schools and just like all the stuff we have to go through. Um, you know, that's a scary part. All of our windows are bulletproof. All of our doors are bulletproof. There's a corner of the classroom that is a bulletproof corner. There is a thing called a barracuda in our classroom. And this is like every school in Florida, at least I know. There's a thing in the classroom called a barracuda. And this is a special door lock where like you have your door locked, right? But then you have like a bar that like pulls out and like locks the door in place so that even someone like tried to shoot off the lock, they still couldn't open the door. Um, you also have to have drills for this all the time. Also, only an adult can open the door. This is for even like if a kid needs to go to the bathroom, they can't open the door for themselves anymore. You have to open the door for them. And if anybody enters the classroom, you as the adult have to open the door. Um, And there's more than that. There's things like the door stop. You can't have like a door stop or something that can hold the door open. And if you do need to hold the door open, it needs to be an adult holding it open. Um, God, there's so much more. Scary. Kids can't wear camouflage to school. Um, they can't have a hood up, which I understand why they're doing it. It's safety. It's absolutely a great safety rule. We've got cameras everywhere. Um, Even our cafeteria, you have to have a badge to get in there. Uh, you have to have a badge to get in and out of the school. Visitors have to stop at the atrium and get like a special visitor pass just to enter the school. We've got an armed officer on patrol at all times. Um, I don't know. It's scary. And like we're a really safe school. Like we're way like a lot of kids come to our school because we're way safer than other schools in the area. So, but I don't know. Let's see. Have you ever dealt with a stalker or a weirdo fan? I've had weirdo students before. Not not in teaching kids. I'm talking about when I had like mostly when I was like a single guy in Japan and I had private lessons. I had some students that were like a little too interested in my personal life. Like I had one student who did try to follow me home before where I had to be like, "Hey, look, this is unprofessional. You cannot do this." I had to get really real and talk some sense into her and be like, your train is here, and I know it is because you've told me during our lessons before. You need to get on that train and go home. You're not following me to mine." Um, and then after I had to write her an email letting her know like our lessons were canceled from here on there on out. I had a weird guy too one time who he wasn't like a stalker, but like I guess he thought because I was his private teacher, we were also best friends for life. And he would like call me like we'd have I had like I think only two lessons with him, and in between both of those two lessons, he called me like a bunch of times like, "Oh, Scotto Sensei, I am reading this right now and I do not know what would be the word for this." And I'd be like, buddy, I don't have like a dictionary in front of me right now, so I can't really answer that. And right now, we're not on a paid lesson time, so I don't have to answer that. Um, please don't call me off the clock here." And then he started to like he'd call me and just have like, "What is your favorite American movie or Japanese movie, and what would be the title in the other language?" And I'm just like, "But I'm not down for this. Like, we're not best friends. You're my student." And then I had like really awesome students. Like I had one guy who um he just wanted to talk about music all the time. Every time we had lessons, he'd talk about like music from the 90s and like he'd bring me CDs of stuff he liked from Japan in the 90s. I'd give him some CDs of mine. He'd be like, "I can really have these and take them home." And I'd be like, "Yeah, man, I got it burned on a CD." He's like, "Whoa, this is awesome. Thank you." And like he'd bring me stuff and we'd talk about like horror movies and stuff like that. And he was super cool, dude. He was an awesome dude. Um, he was dealing with some health problems though near the end, so he canceled his lessons near the end. It was really sad. I will say some of the best students I've ever had is old ladies. Old ladies are like they're the nicest, the easiest, the most excited to learn. Um, the best questions ever where they're like not too personal but interesting enough where you're like, "I want to answer that question. That's a great question. Thank you." Or like the question's not like, "Can you use chopsticks?" Like, fuck you. Shut up. Are like, "Why come Japan?" Like they're not like the same question you hear over and over again. Um, like I like she'd ask me stuff. We'd be like, Why do people wear eye watches now? Like, what's so, like interesting stuff. Like, I'd be like, "Oh, that's a great question for like an old lady to ask in English," and it teaches her all sorts of new vocabulary. Like, that's a great question. Like, those have been my best. Old ladies are like really good students in Japan. Baba, Oba-chan. Oh, you're talking about dealing with bugs and stuff. You know what the most annoying part where I live is? For some reason, there's areas where like wasps really want to make nests all around our houses out here. And I don't know why. Imagine a kid dressed as a Punisher for Halloween. That's not good. They shouldn't do that. Scott Senpai, I rub you very, very much. No, please, no. God, no. What is my favorite kind of tree? I guess oak trees are cool. Um, yeah. But lag? Is that good? Oh, okay. Well then. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I don't. I never dealt with wasps till I bought a house, and like you can spray stuff with lemongrass where like it'll stop them from ever making a nest there again. But then they'll just find like one little tiny area to do it again. You're just like, stop. Can you go away? When Scott answers one comment, he's gone for 15 minutes. Uh, why does TKO Sam hate you? Yeah, we've talked about this like a bunch of times. To make it as short as I can, and look, I've got nothing against TKO Sam. Like, I've got no beef with him at all. Um, I think, I think if anything, he's become an even better streamer and video presenter than he's ever been in his life, especially now with his reaction videos. Um, there was a website that was made about him and multiple other YouTubers, J-vloggers specifically. That included Canada Jin, Jake Nolan, Josh something or other. I forgot his last name. Him, Rising Gaijin. Oh, okay. What do we got? Oh, dang, dude. Nice. That's cool that it's times 1.8. Well, that's cool now that you've got that. That'll increase everything for you. So this website like said that they like were racist or like all this bad stuff about them. Like that they were racist, that they needed to be canceled and all this other stuff. And him and I had gotten into a fight over a chat, just name calling each other back and forth over dumb shit. And he decided because we had just gotten into that spat that I had made that website right after. Um, I tracked down who did make the website. I showed him the IP address of where the website was made. I showed him what kind of phone it was made on and the area of America in which it was made. And he did not believe me. And he still to this day thinks I made that website. I did not. I had nothing to do with the website, but it did show up right when him and I were beefing. So, and nothing has ever convinced him otherwise. All the other people who were on that website, though, when I showed them the same information, they were like, "Oh, yeah, there's no way you could have done this. Um, there's nothing I can do." I That's what we say shogunai in Japanese. Nothing can be done. I've showed him as much evidence as I could possibly gather to prove it wasn't me. He still to this day thinks I made this website. When later we found out it was one of his friends who was part of a BLM group at the time named Ty, who made the website with his friends on an Android phone in West Virginia. And when I showed him that, he was like, "Yeah, but you could have been using a VPN." It's like, holy shit, how much work did I do to try and make this website? It was up for like 2 days. That's it. Um, they were able to have it taken down after just 2 days. So it was some website that somebody else had made. It was made during a certain time that I would have never even been awake on an Android phone, a type of phone I've never owned in my life. I've only ever had iPhones my whole life. West Virginia, I have no connection to anybody or anything or anyone in West Virginia. And the location of the building that the IP address came from was associated with BLM. So go figure. You may, if you know Sam from his past, he's said some, he's dropped the hard R before. He's dropped the N bomb. He used to say this thing that was like, "Stay black, everybody," or something like that. I forget what his phrase was, or something like that. And he did, I think, piss some people off. Um, his reasoning behind why he was allowed to say things like that was because he's, if and correct me if I'm wrong on this, he's like partially half like Saudi Arabian, and that's why he's allowed to talk like that as an absolutely white bread person. When I say white bread, I mean as in like Wonder Bread. I'm as white as it gets. I really don't know. I really don't know if you're allowed to drop the hard R or the N bomb if you are half Saudi Arabian. Um, I don't make rules like that. I don't know. Like I don't know what's socially acceptable as far as doing that. Um, I I'm but I've been blamed for that ever since then by him, and that has kept him very angry at me forever. And I've heard people come to me before and been like, he talks a lot of trash about you on his streams. It's fine. It's okay. Um, the only people in my life who I hope I'm keeping happy are the people I work for and my wonderful family that I love. And you guys, my audience. But if Sam ever did want to reach out and like talk and discuss like what happened, why it happened, why he still thinks it me, if he had some kind of evidence that it was me, I'd be willing to listen. But he's never done that. And any attempt from me, I've made like two different attempts to reach out. Um, he blocked me ASAP. I'm blocked on like anything I have anywhere. Sam is not blocked. He could make a comment on my channel right now if he wanted to. So weird, weird, right? Weird. Not him being weird, just weird situation. I just feel like it's a weird situation. GKO Sam doesn't sound like the kind of guy you need in your life. Not with his persistent belief that you're behind that site. It says plenty about his character. Um, yeah, I don't know. Nah. Um, I wish the best for him, man. Like, I have no ill will towards the guy. I really do. I hope if if he was able to become like a full-time YouTuber and live off streams and even go viral or something, I root him on, man. I say go for it, dude. Um, I don't know what else I can say. It's kind of like I've talked that to death. But whenever I get asked that question, I try to be straightforward about that. Anything people ask me about a quick rhino, um, my past with having talked to Canada Jin and dealing with their drama that they had between her and June and Rachel. And, it's best to just be open about stuff like that. Just tell all you know and let people make their own opinion on it. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't affect my life really, and like IRL. Um, Whatever. Oh, but you know what I did have the other day on a more positive note? A recent J vlogger did reach out to me. I want to give this guy a shout out. Let me go real quick. Hold on. Give me a second. Gotta go to my notes. I believe they're called like Utsada, the Utsada family. It's I rarely ever get. Dang, how far back was it? Dang, dang, dang. When someone gives you a shout out, like, or like, like tags you, it notifies you like in a different way. Ah, here they are. Let's give them a shout out because this was cool. I haven't had this happen in like ages. Udatsu, not Usada. Okay. Let's give these guys a shout out and throw some viewers their way. Udatsu Family Adventures. It was like a real friendly little post. It really It gave me kind of nostalgia for the old happy days of Vlogger community. Um, I am subscribed. Good. They made a post and it said Mayo Jaga pizza for you, Scott, at Unrested. And they posted this big picture of like a big slimy pizza covered in mayo in Japan. Because as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of the toppings Japan puts on their pizzas. And I responded, I said, thank you so much. Mazu. LOL, just kidding. If you are in Osaka area from June to July, let's collab. Nonetheless, thanks for that shout out, but no thank you for the pizza. Oh, and let's see, did they reply? They replied. Well, they replied with a bunch of smiling, laughing, crying faces. Well, that's cool. That's wholesome. That gave me the feels of like old school Vlogger nostalgia of like when we all used to be a big crew and do funny collab stuff or tease each other or prank each other together and stuff like that. Kind of make goofy videos and stuff like that. It was great to see. Really like a heartwarming comment. I really like it. So big thank you to the Udatsu Family Adventures. And they got some cool stuff. I went and I checked out the channel. They got a lot of like just walking around different areas and stuff like that. A day in Kyoto, a day at the beach in Okinawa. And I did see they had a couple things where it was like going around Osaka, and there's a lot of dealing with just having the brand new family. They've got some young kids, and so they're doing the whole like try to go around and adventure with your kids while they're still young and they're not stuck in Juku 24/7. So you can let them like really live the more stress-free life that they can get in Japan as a younger child. And I remember doing this with Maki and Kenny when they were just big big mochi face, squishy, chubby little boys, and it's a precious time in a kid's life to be able to do this with them, to take them around all different parts of Japan. We did it so much. My wife was absolutely possessed by the spirit of show these kids everything before they must give their lives to the Juku god. So I just went along with it. I'm like, oh, why are we doing this so much? It's like they only get to do this when they're young, and I didn't understand what she meant because I didn't really understand how intense Juku was, but I just went along with it and thought like, all right, let's go, let's do all the. They'd be like, why every weekend we've got to go like travel somewhere? Like, what is going on? Like, and then I realized later what she meant that like their whole life becomes like study, study, study when they get just a little bit older. I like the Domino's Japanese pizza with eggplant and zucchini. Ooh. Why don't you just put bottle caps and saran wrap on it, Aaron? Yuck. I'm joking. I'm joking. All right, to each their own. You can put whatever you want on your pizza, but if you ever want to see World War III start, get a bunch of countries to try and share a pizza together, and you will see that break out, my friend. Oh, what? You guys jumped in here right now, Udatsu. Whoa, hey, yeah, dude. Thank you so much for like the showing the pizza and shout me out about that. That kind of like really warmed my heart. It was a nice little tease, seeing that come from another person making videos in Japan. And I'm serious about that. If you happen to be, I don't know what your whole travel plans are, but thank you so much, dude. That was awesome. Uh, Mostly meat stuff now. There's a good one though. Looks scary, tastes amazing. Looks scary, tastes amazing. That should definitely be the tagline for an opening restaurant in the area. Looks scary, tastes amazing. Um, Young James. I've watched a little bit of Young James. His stuff is pretty decent. Um, I I don't agree with everything Young James says, but the fact that he has Young into his name, um, I think is logical in a sense that he realizes he's giving you a depiction and sort of an esoteric view of what his life is like right now. And he knows that. He's like very realistic with himself in the sense that he's like, look, this is all I've learned up to this point. I know I'm still young. I know I'm still learning. I know I have a lot more of experiences. but this is my feelings on this situation as far as I've come along in life so far. And I like that about that. You know, he's not egotistical in the way he delivers a message, and he's also not pompous when he scores a victory or suffers a failure. He approaches it from the manner of being very introspective, and I appreciate that about young James. Again, I don't always agree with his opinion on stuff, but I think he definitely has a great use of um, how would I say a great use of storytelling and um, elaborating on personal experiences in a way that has you engaged very quickly. That's what I have to say about young James. And that channel, Young James in general, I think I see him going viral at some point. I see him like if any smaller channel that I'm watching right now that's in Japan talking about Japan, if I ever predicted one that might kind of blow up big, I think he has a good chance to do it. He's got just the right balance of being a little bit, a little bit edgy, but not to a point where you're like, okay, come on, like you're a little bit ridiculous. That's what's up. What's up? Glad to see you on. Always a surprise whenever you're on here. I mean, I'm always happy when you're on here. Oh, Tats, did you see the Silent Hill transmission for Silent Hill F? Tell me you've watched it. Tell me you've watched it. We've got to talk about that, guys. Oh wait, my husband is definitely one of those go do everything now type Japanese when it comes to touristing blah. I just walk around and the girls like to go to every playground. I hate tourist things. I totally understand what you're talking about. My wife was the same way. Like, it was like she wanted to speed run like vacations when my kids were young, and I understand now that my kids reached teenager to like early teen years, and that if they want to be competitive in the job market and in schooling and stuff like that, they have to hit up Juku like 24/7. Like they're at Juku all the time. Like my son now in America is not because he actually, I think he really just wanted to get away from that life, which I understand. But my other son, who became very competitive and is in like a top high school, he knew he had to be like hardcore about it. And I think my wife knew that way ahead of time too. And so she got sort of the whole vacationing, you've seen everything, you've gone everywhere, you got to have fun part out of the way so that she didn't spoil that part of their childhood where they're just like, why did we always sit at home when we had free time? And now that we're like, stuck in Juku all the time, those places are out of our reach because we have no time for that. So I'm happy she did that. There was times where I was like dead tired and I'm like, "Damn, are you serious? Like I worked like a 50-hour week and now we got to go travel all the way to like Yokohama? Like what?" But I'm happy we did it now. Hello, I've been here the entire time since you were eating that snack or something. I was just silent. Yes, I did see the trailer. It looks great. I've unfortunately only played Silent Hill for the room. You haven't played the remake yet? What are you doing, Tats? Oh my God, Silent Hill F looks so good. Do you know it's written by what's his name? I want to say Ryukichi07. I always get his name messed up. I want to make sure I don't mispronounce it. Ryu Kishi. I always switch the S with a C. Ryukishi07. Um, if you guys don't know who Ryukishi07 is, or I think that he's also called Ryukishi7, the writer of Higurashi no Nakakoro ni, the When the Cicadas Cry. That's English English. When the cicadas get really upset and cry. Um, ah, he's part of the writing team for this, and his quote. This is his quote. Oh, no, okay. Sorry if you haven't ever read or watched. It's an anime series. It's a manga series. It's a live action series. It's really good. Like it's horror, but it's not horror like nonstop blood and guts gore type horror. It's very psychologically based. Um, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I'm not going to tell you a lot about it. It's worth your time if you're a horror fan. But I will tell you, it's a very well written um, anime. And don't watch the remake of it, watch the original. I'm sure you could find it for free on YouTube. Um, it's really unique in the way that it was written. And if you don't know his background, he was a social worker in Japan before he became an author. And he got a lot of his writing ideas from some of the cases he had to investigate as a social worker. And it really, really delves into the humanity and the inhumanity of the entity of who we are as people and what our dark and light sides are, how we can be steered down different paths, how small changes in our life can lead to drastic disasters and snowball out of our control, um, how something we may see as minor might be major to another person, how we need to view feelings from more than just our own perspective, but from the other person's perspective as well, um, how we can be our own worst enemies, self defeatists, but also our own champions at the same time. And he's quoted as saying, after having written the script for this new Silent Hill, that this is the hardest he's ever worked on anything he's ever written. And if it's the last thing he ever writes before he dies, he'll die happy. That's how hardcore he must have. That's his quote on this. Um, oh, David, you going to sleep? Oh, Yasumi, a fan in Spain. I've been to Spain. It was beautiful. I loved it. And people were super nice. I gotta say, Spain, um, good food, nice people. Kind of shocked at how much you guys spray paint your national monuments. I was kind of like, whoa, what? Are you serious? Um, but other like just had a good time there. Um, very nice, very friendly, very cool. Uh, but yeah, cats. Like I'm definitely doing a whole. I'm doing a deep analysis when Silent Hill F comes out. I want to play it all the way through, and I want to go through it and kind of break down everything. I think this is going to be one of the best. I could be wrong. It could come out and be a total bomb and be horrible. I have a feeling the story is going to be complicated. Like it's going to be. I have a feeling it's going to be a story where you're like, wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what's going on? And then later you're going to take a step back and slowly look at it piece by piece and be like, oh, this is the message. This is the like people don't remember it, but there was a time where actually like a lot of people would be like, Silent Hill 2's story, it makes no sense and it's so stupid. Why is James looking for his wife when he already knows she's dead? And I'm not spoiling anything. You know that from like the second of the first scene where he's like, "Oh, Mary, you died 3 years ago." Now, I won't say like how everything went down, but people actually said like it was like a really bad story when it first came out. I remember people like being upset that they're like, makes no sense. How could she be dead but also still alive? And then like as people played the game and got really into it and realized like Silent Hill is kind of like hell for a person and it's hell for the other characters you see in the story. And as people started to understand like what a dumb name for an enemy, Abstract Daddy, and then they realized like what kind of message was trying to come across with that creature and stuff. They're like, oh my god, it's so dark, like dark on a level we've never seen before. Um, I think that's what's going to happen with this game. Like when it first comes out, people are going to be like, doesn't make any sense, can't follow the story. Like Higurashi no Nakakoro ni. There is fans of that. Um, but a lot of people aren't tuned into it or it's never gotten as popular as something like, Evangelion, right? That's a dark, weird, twisted story, but they also came out with McDonald's Happy Meals toys, right? Like Higurashi no Nakakoro will never reach that level. Like it's just a little bit too befuddling for some people who don't want to look into the darker psychological aspects of that horror story. But once you do, you realize this rich, deep story of humanity, like of like how I would really say it's how butterfly effects can happen. And like it's not told in a silly way with like, I played with firecrackers, then I woke up in the future with no hands. Butterfly effect. Like it's not really like um heavy-handed in that manner. Um, it's like very small things, like kind of like a mix of almost like science fiction time travel and stuff like that, but done in a really, really graceful way, and how it's written, how its characters come across, how things slowly evolve. And if you don't give it time, it's a slow burn. If you don't give it time, you'll be like, what the hell is this cutesy wootsy silly dumb junk where like how do people call this horror? Like if you don't actually get through it and see like the multiple endings that come out from it, you won't really like Higurashi no Nakakura ni. Um, and I think that might be, well, I don't think it'll, no one's ever going to think this is like cutesy wootsy dumb junk when it comes to Silent Hill F. But I think people will first be somewhat confused with the story, and it will take time for people to take a step back from it, observe it, analyze it, and be like, oh my God, these are the things that are like super ultra dark and twisted about what this girl is going through. Like even today, we were talking about the name of the main character, Hinako, who one viewer, it was Anne. Anne's on here as a mod. I can say her name. Where she said like, oh, couldn't the kanji for that like mean chrysanthemum, and like chrysanthemum's used for like these certain rituals and stuff in Japan. And it's like yes, but also it can mean like baby bird. So like, and oftentimes when there's a kanji used for the name, it can take on multiple meanings. It really changes the meaning of a kanji when it's used for a name. And this is something I really had to learn by making a fool of myself multiple times when trying to pronounce people's names. Um, for example, my own son's middle name, Jin, has multiple meanings of like ray of light, glad, shiny, sun ray, stuff like this. And they all stick to that name because you're trying to take away the positives from it. But I think it's the same thing of even this main character's name of Hinako, where she is kind of the baby bird in this situation. She is kind of the chrysanthemum ritual flower of something dark taking place. And I think we're going to see all those things cross paths in this story because that's how deep and rich Miyukishi's writing is. And if you don't believe me, go read some of the other stuff. Although I would say mostly stick to When They Cry. Um, he has some other stuff that I don't know. I'm not as into. Um, like he has this other series about like a rich family stuck on this island, and it's like a murder mystery, and that it was okay. It wasn't really as much of a horror story as more of like a who done it. And then there's one more after that, and it just kind of gets too into fantasy where I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm tuning out. I'm more happy with his modern day stuck in real Japan type situation. Anyway, after ignoring everyone for a good another 15 minutes of going off on a side topic, um, I should have a podcast. I don't know. It was before people started getting into psychological stuff, and there was that time where most horror stuff became deeper, too much thinking for some. Yeah, and I would say Udatsu, one of the things that um, I'd say Japan does in general is does mostly stick to psychological horror. And I feel like Japan has a better grip on like urban noir type horror, like the darkness of being overwrought and crushed by urban sprawl and just like all the psychological problems that can come with that. Not saying urban sprawl destroys the human, all right? Not saying we all gotta live in nature and be cavemen. Just saying like, rushing to work every day, um, work beating you down, power hara from fellow employees, dealing with the daily grind, bullying in school or at work. I feel like Japan has a much better grip of portraying that in a way in which you can see the true horror of it and how it can psychologically affect someone in the most negative way. Or even better, Japan seems to have this incredible way of both showing us technology and then also showing us how technology can become horrific. You got the ring, right? If people don't know, like the ring goes deeper than just like Girl crawls out of TV, you dead. Like it gets into like way, way, way deeper science. It's like part of a multiple series where like DNA and cloning and all this wild stuff starts to happen. Or think of Serial Experiments Lane. That writer came up with the idea of the internet before there was the internet. And he also showed how it could negatively affect people by destroying face to face social interaction and people becoming both moot to the world around them and more isolated to a point where they exist as a digital concept but never again in flesh and blood. And that's a scary thing to think of. Very existential crisis level scary. And Japan has an incredible way of portraying stuff like that. Look at Cairo, aka the Pulse, right? People becoming so isolated and so obsessed with only existing through a digital presence that they become ghosts of who they formerly were. And that spreading like a virus until the whole world starts to disappear person by person, becoming little more than digital spirits that represented the person they once were in the flesh and blood. Again, very sounds very, very tech, but becomes very creepy when actually visually portrayed. Um, and I think that's some of what you're going to see in this. Although I do realize I think this is happening post World War II, if I'm correct. But man, oh man, I cannot wait. Sadly, there's no release date on it. Mm. When the suspect terrorist won't talk during interrogation, bring in Scott. No, no, not the Scott. Well, because I'll just go off on a tangent for like hours and. uh, how come space is infinite? All right, I get it. I get it. You guys crack me up, dude. Uh, uh, Perfect Blue is really good. Evangelion is my religion, though. Evangelion's so God. There's so many existential levels. Although I will say the weird thing about Evangelion is that I feel like he always wanted to make an existential crisis anime and kind of did it halfway through a giant robot anime. Like he was like, "Oh, I'll make like the." I think maybe the company was like, "Can you make a anime about aliens living in giant robot suits?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And then halfway through, he was like, "Nah, I think I'm just gonna make an existential crisis anime." Like halfway through, and they're just kind of like, "Wait, what are you doing?" "Oh, okay, wait, wait. People really like it. Go ahead, just do it. It's fine, whatever." Um, Yeah, doing a podcast. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Would I just be sitting there interviewing myself? I need somebody who I can like bounce off of. Otherwise, I feel like I monopolize the time. I do get it. I do understand. I like sometimes go off on a tangent and like can't shut up. It's the ADHD in me. When I get hooked on a subject, I can't stop. Like I could talk existential, transhumanism, um, technological horror, advancement beyond like um, what we can comprehend as humans, the existence of life beyond here, and layers of is there an afterlife, for on and on and on and on and on. Whatever you do, guys, do not bring the Matrix topic or Interstellar. Interstellar was okay. Yeah. And the Matrix is okay, but I feel like there's other movies that go deeper than that. Um, like Paprika. You guys ever watch Paprika? Anyway, if I start talking about Paprika, like blood's gonna pour out of my ears, so I better stop. uh, what did I watch NGE when I was 17? So I'm kind of scared to ever watch it again because it was a perfect angsty time for it. My son does that ADHD tangent last night. I had to learn the history of Beyblade generation. The history of Beyblade is everybody has the worst haircut ever on Earth. That's the history of Beyblade. I'm glad my kids grew out of the Beyblade phase really fast. It makes like no sense. Like how could it be like so epic? Like how could those kids get that excited about tiny little spinny things and be like, "This is the Ultra Blue Dragon scales, like level 50 cyborg blue scales of steel coming at you right now." It's like you realize like first of all, you've shown up to this arena with the world's worst haircut. You're literally pulling a little spinner that's not much bigger than a 500 yen coin. And in real life, everybody's just staring at that. Like that's all that's happening right now. You're calling it this, but we're literally just watching something as big as a 500 yen coin spin around in a plastic tube. And you're calling, oh, sorry, I don't know what it. Something about Beyblade really triggers me. Everybody's got the worst goddamn haircut. What is wrong with those kids? Get your hair fixed. Looks like 5 layers of blue lettuce laying on their head. I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Not the show, the toy. The toy's okay. Like I get why kids are into that. Like I mean that's kind of cool. Some of them even have like sparks and stuff that shoot. The weirdest thing I will say is in Japan, my kids were really into Beyblade like first, second grade of elementary school. Then I got to America and kids knew Beyblade, but they were like seventh graders. They're like, "Yo, I just got a new Beyblade, Mr. Ackerman." I'd be like, Beyblade? Like like the toy that like spins?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's awesome. Everybody's into it now. Look what I got." They'd be like, "Do your kids have any?" I'm like, "Yeah, back when they finished kindergarten. What are you guys doing? Like, why is Beyblade popular with a seventh grader in America and like it's like a first grader toy in Japan?" Well, I don't get it. I don't know. Whatever, dude. It's actually pretty funny, Mr. Boo. Like imagining me being put in these situations with people. My husband doesn't help. It's like he's reliving his childhood. He was so excited when my son liked Beyblade. Okay, okay, I can understand your husband on that part. When my kid got into Legos, dude, I was there. During COVID, when we were like locked in for 3 months, I, we were building stuff like nonstop, dude. I made stuff where I was like, how did I even build this? This is awesome. So I kind of understand your husband on that aspect. There's like yeah, there's certain things that kids buy where I'm like, this is badass, dude. There was like these toys that they wanted for a while from like I don't know which version of Power Rangers it was. There's so many different types where it was like this giant watch where like you pulled it and this like helicopter thing launched off and I was like, can I borrow that for a while? They'd like go to bed and I'd be like, I would like pull it and then like get my Nerf gun out and see if I could shoot it enough times before it would go back to like, oh well, definitely a dude thing, definitely a guy thing. Uh, Yikes. I watched Eva back when it dropped on VHS here in the States in the late 90s. Frieza Saga was so intense. So many lessons of endurance and teamwork. The Japanese ones are metal. Not allowed to. Yeah. There was actually at my school, there was a memo put out that, like, if kids somehow get, like, those imported, that, like, we need to take them away. Apparently, there was, like, some situation where, like, someone bought a knockoff version of Beyblade that was made of metal and some I don't know how, but somehow during them clashing together, metal parts popped off and actually like hit a kid in the face or the eye or something. So whatever, dude. Whatever. Um anyway, I'm powering down for the night. I better log off. Udatsu, I'm super stoked you came on. And I'm super stoked you guys did a shout out. That's so fun. It's so fun to finally like see people interact within like JVlogger communities again. I really like it. So thank you from that little blast from the past as far as nostalgia is concerned. I wish you the best in all your adventures, um, and your channel too. I hope it blows up huge. You know what? I'll give you a shout out in tomorrow's video. I'll make sure I give you guys a shout out. Um, I'm not 100% sure what I'm covering tomorrow. Hmm. I actually wanna. Um, Two of the questions I got asked tonight were pretty good. The most annoying thing. I want to think about the most annoying thing. That was a pretty good question. Like, I try to stay pretty positive with my channel or like stay balanced. Um, but asking like what the most annoying thing is, like that's kind of a good one. I like that. What's the most annoying thing that happened in Japan? And I don't want to just do like the typical like can you use chopsticks question. I want to really think about that one. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, you don't. You're good. You're good, Udatsu. Yeah, I love giving shout outs. It's the only way I got started. You know what I mean? Like I was nobody till I got a shout out from Give Me a Break Man. That got me started. Most of it just feels like meh entertainment. What like new anime and anime movies and stuff? Sometimes I don't know, like series. When it comes to anime series, I can like watch like the first season and I'm just kind of like tuned out after that. If you guys ever have suggestions, log on to the Discord and shout some stuff at me as far as what you would want to see me watch. Like I really want to watch something good for anime or like an anime movie. I haven't seen anything good. Our manga recently, I've like really been struggling to find a decent manga to get attached to. Uh, 日本語が上手ですね. Yeah, Aaron, how many times did you hear that one? 日本語上手. すごいね. Like, really? That? Really? I'd always be like, yeah, you're English too. Wow. Wow, 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 you're English. They'd be like, but I haven't spoken any English. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Uh, advice on learning Japanese. Oh, my number one advice that I I absolutely follow myself is Duolingo and what's the other software everybody uses and stuff like that. Those are okay. Like those are what is it? Something Stone. Um, those are okay, but you're never gonna learn Japanese on those. Same with books and stuff too. Like Genki Japanese and stuff like that. That's okay for like a really, really small appetizer to get started. If you really want to get into it, the service I'm using, and look, I'm not sponsored. Actually, you know what I am though? If someone joins, I get a $50 bonus to my lessons. So I'm going to use my link. Um, stop. I don't need it. Um, refer a friend. Wait, am I logged in? Yeah, I am. Okay. Invite your friends. Copy link. Paste. Use Preply. Preply, you can hire a tutor, and like my tutor's $9. $9 a lesson. There's a full month of lessons for 36 bucks. Um, and you're going to be speaking in Japanese. The only way you can learn a language is absolutely trip, stumble, fall, and lose your balance over and over again, making a fool of yourself as you speak gibberish and bibble babble like a little baby in that language. And that's what I highly advise you to do. Oh, your son takes lessons on pre-play. See, you got a double endorsement. That's the best kind, double endorsements. It sounds great. It is good. It really is good. I mean, you can get lessons. Yeah, it's crazy cheap. You can find cheaper than that even. Like it'll just be like like you could find lots of like, bored people who are just like, no offense to them, but like there's housewives. They got like nothing to do during the day and they'd like, "Oh, I can make like a little extra cash by just talking Japanese to some random foreigner. Okay, let's do that." Um and they'll charge like almost nothing. They mostly just like sometimes just want to talk. They just want to like and like that forces you to use the language, not just be like, repeat this. Good job, you did it. It's just like a software, like you're learning like the most basic stuff. It's all in Keigo, which nobody speaks on the street. And this will actually teach you to use the language, not just be like, okay, I know like these 5 words that I can loop around into sentences that get me nowhere. Uh, yes, 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 exactly. Yeah, that's what mine is. Cheap. So Udatsu says some of the cheap ones are usually brand new, just graduated teachers. Mine's like a brand new elementary school teacher, and she's the English teacher. She's the English teacher for her school. Oh, poor thing. When she tries to speak some English, she's like, "It means this in English," and then she'll say the word, and I'll be like, "I kind of see what you're trying to say. It's kind of see it. Okay, good thing I speak Japanese." She'll get there. She'll get there. Maybe I should become an English teacher on pre-ply and teach her back. Um, anyway, guys, I gotta log off before I go off on another tangent that causes Mr. Boots to go into full seizures. Um, Podcast with someone who lives in Japan or wants to go there. Maybe that's what I can do. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. I've never done a podcast. I've been on a bunch of them. I was on Generation Y. You guys know that one? It's not on there anymore, but I was on Generation Y one time. I was on Generation Y. I was on Just Japan podcast. I was on Japan Podcast 101. I was on, what was the one that was for Gaijin Pot? Gaijin Pot used to have a podcast. I don't know if they have it anymore. I was on that one. I've been on a bunch, but I've never made my own. I gotta research it maybe. Anyway, love you all. You guys are the best. Um, I I think I'll be on tomorrow. I should be on tomorrow. I don't have anything to do, I don't think. Invite Ryzen Gaijin. I don't think I'm cool enough. I think I need more cool points if I'm gonna invite Ryzen Gaijin. I don't think we're on the same level. This guy, his cool points are like, you know, and I've lost all my cool points. All right, you guys are awesome. You guys have a great rest of the night, okay? This is